Alrighty, folks, you know I'm feeling great on a Hump Day Wednesday because chairman members cashed in on a handful of premium selections on my premium site yesterday. We had the Guardians, Padres, Rangers, and the Brewers. We're also 2-0 in our last couple of extra daily picks on my premium page as well. 7-2 in our last 9 plays in that same package. If you want to see which one of these free plays on this video here today that I actually like the best, I've got another extra daily pick going off here for you today. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to my Major League Baseball free pick video here today for Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. Happy Wednesday to you, and once again, happy Hump Day, to you. Weekend's right around the corner. We're halfway there right now. And for those of you who don't know, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. Now, if you sign up for that extra daily pick package, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to my daily best play absolutely free. It's going to be included with your purchase. The math works out to be just 9 cents a day for 30 days worth of plays. Patreon.com/BrockPage. Free content. It's time. Let's dive into it. Reds-Braves Game 1. That will be a 12:20 Eastern first pitch. Now, Atlanta is the $1.35 favorite in Game 1. Total's 8.5. Looks like Alan Winans for the Braves, Frankie Montas for Cincinnati. And the righty Montas is just 4-8 on the season with an ERA nearly in the 5s. But even if he does end up throwing well here today, the Reds have been pretty terrible at the plate. They're in the bottom 3 in the league in hits per game. And they're facing an Atlanta squad on the other side who they've been pounding that Cincinnati pitching recently. Out of their last 10 head-to-head gatherings, the Braves scored 58 total runs during that stretch. And as far as this season's concerned, well, Atlanta loves hitting at Truist Park. They're in the top 5 in hits per game in their own building. Marcell Ozuna is in the top 5 in homers, RBI, and OPS. And Austin Riley's got an on-base percentage of .325. Now, total-wise, 7 out of the Braves' last 10 gatherings with Cincinnati did get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Now, the Reds, they went 7-3 to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Braves minus 135, over 8.5 in Game 1. Next matchup, Cardinals-Pirates, 12:35. Pittsburgh's $1.20, totals 8.5. Martin Perez for Pittsburgh, Matt Liberatore for St. Louis. Now the Liberators got only 2 losses on this season, a whip of just 1.21. And, the Pirates have had all kinds of problems hitting these St. Louis pitchers. The Bucs have been held to just 3.2 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings. And as far as this season's concerned, well, there's really been no difference. The Bucs are a bottom 5 run-producing team at home in the National League. Of course, on the mound, Martin Perez, he's done them no favors. The lefties recorded only one, win this year through 77 innings of work. Now, Perez also has an ERA of .561 along with a 1.66 whip. Now, 4 out of the Pirates' last 5 at PNC Park stayed under the total. They're also 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Now, 4 out of the Redbirds' last 5 road games fell under the total as well. Give me St. Louis plus $1, under 8.5. Next game, Phillies-Twins, 1:10 p.m. East. Philadelphia's $1.55, totals 8 runs. Aaron Nola for the Titans, Stephen Okert for Minnesota. And Okert's 3-1 on the year. Just 1 recorded loss through 28-plus innings. And I tell you what, these Minnesota pitchers average more strikeouts per 9 than any other staff in baseball. But I tell you what, it ain't just pitching for the Twins. These guys can certainly hit the baseball. Minnesota averages more hits a game at home than any other lineup in the league. And they're facing a Phillies squad who lost 5 out of their last 8. And they had a tough time covering the run line this year in certain spots. They failed to cover in 6 out of their last 10 ball games. They also have a losing record against the number in their interleague road games. Now, injury-wise, Correa, Farmer, Kirilloff, Lewis, and Miranda, they are still on the injury report for Minnesota. You got to keep an eye on those guys. 3 out of the Phillies' last 5 road games did fall under the total. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Twins plus 1.5, under 8. Next game, Brewers-Cubs, 2:20 p.m. East. Chicago's $1.40, total 7.5. Justin Steele for Chicago, Joe Ross for the Brewers. And these Brewer pitchers, they've done a nice job with Chicago recently. They've held the Cubs to just 3.3 runs a game in their last 10 gatherings. And in their divisional games, well, the Brewers continue to play well. They're actually 22-13 against the NL Central. Of course, the Cubs on the other side, well, a completely different story. Out of 35 ball games against divisional opponents this year, they got the W only 13 times. And a lot of that has to do with poor plate appearances. The Cubs are a bottom 3 hit-producing team on their own field. Now, injury-wise, Christian Yelich is questionable for the Brewers. Keep an eye on him. 6 out of Milwaukee's last 10 ball games got over the total. Give me Milwaukee plus $1.20, over 7.5. Next game, Red Sox, Rockies, 3:10 Eastern start time. Boston's $1.55, totals 10.5. Nick Pivetta for Boston, Cal Quantrill for Colorado. And Quantri's just 6-7 on the year, ERA of 4.15. Of course, at the plate, the Rockies have had all kinds of problems making contact with the baseball. They're currently striking out 9.6 times a game. That's nearly worst in the league. And they're going to face Nick Pivetta, who's punched out 96 batters and currently has a 1.09 whip. Of course, at the dish, the Bo Sox have no issue getting base runners. They average more hits a game than any other lineup except for one. Rafi Devers has 23 homers and an OPS of 948. And Jarren Duran's stolen 22 bases and has a wins above replacement average of 5.8. Insanely valuable to his team. Now, 3 out of Boston's last 5 road games got over the line. Colorado went 60% to the over in their last 10. Give me the Red Sox minus 155, over 10.5. Next game, Astros, A's, 3:37 East. Houston's $1.55, totals 8.5. Hunter Brown for the Stros, J.P. Sears for Oakland. Now, Sears has 7 losses on the year with an ERA of 4.49. He's also backed by one of the worst lineups in the league. The A's are currently a bottom 5 hit-producing team. And they're facing Hunter Brown, who's 8-6 on the year with 110 strikeouts. Of course, at the plate, the Stros are currently leading the major leagues in hits per game. Yordan Alvarez bats .304 with 20 homers and a .939 OPS. And Jose Altuve is also batting .304 with 183 total bases. Now, 4 out of the A's last 5 at the Coliseum got over the total. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me Houston minus $1.55, over 8.5. Next game, Angels, Mariners, 3:40 p.m. East. Seattle's $1.80, total 7. Luis Castillo for the M's, Griffin Canning for Los Angeles. And, I don't think the Angels, have a great shot at winning this one. Griffin Canning's just 3-10 on the year with an ERA in the 5s. And out of the Angels' last 10 gatherings with the Mariners, they've been terrible at the plate. They average under 5.6 hits a game during that stretch. And we could see more of the same here today with Luis Castillo on the hill. The Seattle righty's got 116 strikeouts and a 1.16 whip. I'll tell you what, when the M's are at home, it's definitely tough to hit against them. Seattle allows a league low 6.6 hits a game in their own building. Now, 4 out of Seattle's last 5 home games did fall under the total. They also went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at any location. Give me Seattle minus 1.5, under 7 in the tight window. All right, next game, Reds-Braves, game 2. That'll be a 6:05 Eastern start time. Atlanta's minus $1.85, total 7.5. Chris Sale for the Braves, Nick Martinez for the Reds. And, I think Martinez will go a bit overshadowed in this pitching matchup. And, I get it. Sale's been amazing this year. But, Martinez has been more than serviceable himself. He's definitely had incredible control over his pitches. The righty's walked only 9 batters this year through 72 innings. He's also got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.13 whip. When it comes to cashing in on the run line, the Reds covered in 6 out of their last 10 ball games. And they're facing a Braves club who's had all kinds of problems with the run line this year themselves. At least recently. They failed to cover in their last 4 straight at Truist Park. They're also just 3-7 against the number in their last 10 at any location. Now, 3 out of the Braves' last 4 at home did stay under the total. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10. Give me Cincy plus 1.5, under 7.5 in game 2. Next game, Orioles-Marlins, 6:40 Eastern first pitch. Baltimore's minus $1.40, totals 8.5. Chase McDermott making his debut for Baltimore. Eddie Cabrera for the Marlins. Now, Cabrera's just 1-3 on the year with an ERA of 7.36. Of course, at the plate, the Marlins have, been pathetic. They're the lowest run-producing team in the National League. And they're going to face youngster Chase McDermott, who's actually looked pretty good at AAA Norfolk. Out of 19 starts, the righty had an ERA in the 3s along with 129 strikeouts. But even if he does have some difficulties here with the Marlins, well, the O's can just outscore just about anyone, especially on the road. Baltimore's currently leading the major leagues right now in runs per game in their travels. Gunnar Henderson's got the 3rd most homers in the bigs, 9th highest OPS. And Anthony Santander's got 27 homers himself with an on-base percentage of .307. Now, injury-wise, Jorge Mateo's questionable for the O's. When it comes to the total, 3 out of the Orioles' last 4 road games did get over the total. Meanwhile, Miami went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Give me Baltimore minus 140, over 8.5. Next game, Tigers-Guardians, 6:40 Eastern start time. Cleveland's minus $1.40, total 7. Tanner Bybee for the Guardians, Jack Flaherty for the Tigers. And, I got to be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and bash Jack Flaherty. I'm not going to nitpick. Dude's having a solid season, pitching really well. I tell you, I am a bit disgusted by the level of run support that Detroit gives their pitchers. It's low. It's not much. And the Tigers are actually averaging only 7.8 hits a game on the road this year. Now, out of 17 contests against the AL Central on the road, the Tigers do have a losing record in those divisional road games. And they're facing a Cleveland squad who does play their best baseball at Progressive Field. And as a matter of fact, they have a .688 win percentage in their divisional home games. And a lot of that has to do with some solid ABs at home. These guys are a top 10 run-producing team on their own dime. And Stephen Kwan hits .347. That is the highest qualifying batting average in the major leagues at the moment. Jose Ramirez, he has the 2nd most RBI in the majors. And, of course, when it comes to pitching, it's the Guardians who have a good one, and Tanner Bybee on the hill themselves. I know I was singing Flaherty's praises, but Bybee ain't too shabby himself. The righty's 8-4 with an ERA in the threes. Now, Tanner's also got 126 strikeouts and a 1.11 whip. Now, total-wise, the Tigers' last 5 straight road games all got over the number. They're also 8-2 to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me Cleveland minus 140, over 7. Next matchup, Padres-Nationals, 6:45 Eastern start time. San Diego's minus $1.25, totals 9 runs. Matt Waldron for San Diego, Mitchell Parker for Washington. And even though Parker's been more than serviceable, he does still have a handful of losses on the year, and he does not have a winning record. The Nats also have actually had a tough time winning ball games at home. Washington currently has a .441 win percentage against National League opponents in the nation's capital. And they're facing a Padres club who's actually had little problems at the plate against them. San Diego actually scored 62 total runs in their last 10 meetings with Washington. So once again, if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. As far as this season's concerned, well, the Pods are currently the best road hitting team in the game. They're averaging more hits away from home than any other roster right now. Jurickson Profar, he's got the most hits and RBI in the lineup. And Luis Arraez, he's got a batting average of .314. Now, pitching-wise, don't let that win-loss record of Matt Waldron fool you. The righty's thrown quite well for the Padres. Waldy's just 1 strikeout shy of the century mark. ERA of .359. Now, 7 out of the Pods' last 10 gatherings with the Nationals did get over the total. Give me San Diego minus $1.25, over 9. All right, next battle here, the Subway Series, Mets-Yankees, 7:05 in the Bronx. It's at Yankee Stadium, and the Yankees are the $1.70 favorite on their own field. Totals 8.5. Garrett Cole for the Yankees, Sean Manaea for the Mets. And Manaea is 6-4 on the year with an ERA in the threes. Now, he's also only a few strikeouts shy of the century mark, so strikeouts are up for Manaea. Of course, at the plate, the Mets are hammering the baseball away from Flushing, Queens. You get them in the borough, that particular borough, they're done. They're not going to hit. But maybe if they go, what is it, 1 borough or 2 boroughs over to the Bronx? Things are different. I don't know what it is, but these guys, I'm talking about the Mets, they're leading the NL East right now in hits per game while traveling. Brandon Nimmo's got the most RBI on the roster. Frank Lindor with the most hits. And they're facing Garrett Cole, who really hasn't been overly crisp himself. The righty's got an ERA of .460 along with a 1.40 whip. And I tell you what, when the Yankees play the National League, bad things do tend to happen. They've currently got a 4-9 record in their divisional home game, in their interleague home games. Now, 3 out of the Yankees' last 5 in the Bronx got over the number. Meanwhile, the Mets have gone 62% to the over against American League opponents. Give me the Mets plus 1.5, over 8.5. All right, next matchup here, a little AL East, game. Rays, Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern start time. Toronto's the $1.20 favorite, totals 8.5. Yariel Rodriguez for Toronto, Zach Eflin for Tampa Bay. Now, Eflin comes into today's game with a solid 1.17 whip. And as bad as they've been at the dish this season, the Rays, they've hit Toronto pitching well recently. They're actually averaging 5.1 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with the Blue Jays. Ahmed Rosario bats .309. Yandy Diaz with the most hits in the clubhouse. And they're facing a Toronto squad who lost 5 out of their last 7. And tell you what, they could potentially have problems on the mound. Yariel Rodriguez, he's just 1-3 with a whip of 1.38. And even if he does end up throwing well, the Blue Jays are a low run producing team at home. They're in the bottom 5 in runs per game in their own building. Now, total-wise, 6 out of the Rays' last 10 ball games did stay under the total. They also went 8-4 to the under in their last dozen Zach Eflin starts. Give me the Rays plus $1 under 8.5. Next ball game, White Sox Rangers 8:05 East. Texas is minus 260. Total is 8 runs. Nathan Eovaldi for the Rangers. Chris Flexen for Chicago. And the righty Flexen's just 2-9 with an ERA of 5.22. Now, he's also backed by the lowest run-producing team in the game. And they're going to take on Nathan Eovaldi, who continues to throw well for Texas. The righty's 6-4 with an ERA of 3.36. Now, he's also got a 1.07 whip. He's just 6 strikeouts shy of the century mark. Of course, these Ranger pitchers, they've been very tough to hit against at Globe Life Field. It's a good staff, and maybe opposing teams don't see the ball well. I'm not sure what it is, but the Rangers are allowing fewer runs a game at home than any other pitching staff in the league besides one. Now, 6 out of the Rangers' last 10 ball games did stay under the total. Meanwhile, Chicago went 9-1 to the under in their last 10 themselves. Give me the Rangers minus 1.5, under 8. Next game, D-backs Royals, 8:10 Eastern start time. Kansas City is minus $1.25, totals 9 runs. Michael Wacha for the Royals, Ryan Nelson for Arizona. And I tell you what, Nelson's got an ERA close to 5, along with a sloppy 1.39 whip. And these Arizona pitchers, they've really allowed a ton of base runners. They're actually giving up more hits per 9 than any other pitching staff besides one. And they're facing a Kansas City team who's the second highest run-producing club at home in the game. Bobby Witt Jr., he hits 340, and he's got the 5th highest OPS average in the bigs. Meanwhile, Salvi Perez, he's tied for the club lead in home runs. Of course, on the mound, Michael Wacha, he's recorded 7 wins with an ERA of 3.55. When it comes to the total, 3 out of Ryan Nelson's last 4 starts did get over the total. Give me Kansas City minus $1.25, over 9. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be a little NL West action. It's the Giants at the Dodgers, 10:10 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are minus $1.85, totals 8 runs. Tyler Glasnow for the Dodgers, Robbie Ray making his season debut for the Giants. And I tell you what, maybe Ray's the spark these guys need. I know the Giants have been, really struggling over the past couple of weeks. So, maybe a fresh face, a new leader on the bump might, get them going. For what it's worth, these Giants pitchers, they have racked up the strikeouts on the road. They're actually in the top 3 in strikeouts per 9 while traveling. And they're facing a Dodger club who actually has all kinds of problems covering the run line. Out of 18 divisional home games this year, the Dodgers covered in just 33% of those contests. 7 out of the Dodgers' last 10 ball games also stayed under the line. Meanwhile, the Giants saw their last 5 straight on the road stay under the total themselves. Give me San Francisco plus 1.5, under 8. And with that, folks, now it is time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Braves minus 135, over 8.5 in Game 1. Cardinals plus $1, under 8.5. I'm once again 2-0. My last 2 extra daily picks on my premium page. 7-2 of my last 9 in that same package. Give me the Twins plus 1.5, under 8. Brewers plus $1.20, over 7.5. Boston minus 155, over 10.5. Astros minus 155, over 8.5. Mariners minus 1.5, under 7. Cincinnati Reds plus 1.5, under 7.5 in Game 2. Baltimore minus 140, over 8.5. Guardians minus 140, over 7. Padres minus $1.25, over 9. New York Mets plus 1.5, over 8.5. Tampa Bay Rays plus $1 under 8.5. Rangers minus 1.5 under 8. Royals minus $1.25 over 9. Give me the Giants plus 1.5 under 8 runs. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks, most importantly, I got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, folks, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site, patreon.com/BrockPage.